Imagine my shock when I upload a passion project that I've been working on for a while, and it ends up at over 8,000 views. Something I didn't even know I could achieve. And I ended up doing it with my first fully edited video. But now that I want to continue this, the pressure's on. I feel like I have to make something even better than last time. And with taking in all of the feedback I've received, I think I'm ready. Let's do it. Gran Turismo wouldn't be anything without prize cars. I really don't think I'm blowing any minds when I say that. They're meant as something to help progression throughout the game, a nice reward for finally getting through the difficult races you just endured. For most of them, they are worth the time and effort to obtain them, or the Gran Turismo 3, where 90% of the time the car you won from the event was worse than the car you used to beat it, especially in the early game. These cars do still have their worth to be sold for credits, so at least they're worth it as some extra cash on top of the prize money you just won, letting you upgrade that car into oblivion until it becomes obsolete. Gran Turismo 4 has one of the better prize car rosters in my opinion, with you being able to have some really interesting progression skips, early game credit farming letting you buy whatever you want to decimate the early game. I'm looking straight at Costa di Amalfi with this one. You know what I mean. So let's see what my route was as I complete Gran Turismo 4 with only prize cars. Prize cars are vast in Gran Turismo 4, and for that reason I want to avoid a lot of the normal trappings. I want to try and avoid the mission hall and the endurance races if I can, because that is a pretty easy ticket to the endgame, with you getting a variety of cars that can easily compete in the GT World Championship. I also want to try and make the endgame a little more compelling, as I felt like running the CLK GTR again was just a rehash, so I wanted to avoid using that as well. I started with the license tests, and I already had an idea of what I wanted to do to start. All I needed was to pass the B license with silver for both the Volkswagen Lupo and the Mazda Kusabi, and the A license with silver medals for the Pontiac Sunfire and the Acura DNX. A lot of the concept cars in this game always enthralled me. I was a sucker for the futuristic styling that a lot of these manufacturers wanted to roll out, even though now I think it kind of has worn out its welcome with a lot of modern concept cars all blending in together in my opinion. Is it nostalgia bias? Absolutely, but that won't stop me basking in it whenever I replay this game. The DNX stomped through whatever competition I put it against at first. With it feeling very satisfying to drive, I really didn't even want to use anything else for a while. I ended up using it to go through the Sunday Cup, 4-Wheel Drive Challenge, Clubman Cup, NA Sports Cup, and the Tuning Car Grand Prix, with only minor Discord bullying in between, as is custom in these videos.
This character is the epitome of just ranged combat with a melee. This is crazy. I love this game. This game is peak everything, dude. Tell me I'm wrong. Literally tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong, bro.
When Destiny 3 exists, you're gonna call this peak gaming?
Listen, bro.
That wasn't even funny.
What's Destiny 3?
But Destiny 3.
but it's supposed to be funny. Laugh.
Dead People 3.
Wow. Oh no, they done. Oh no, he done hog.
He done cranked his hog.
He hogged. The hog has been cranked.
It is now Jover.
Oh my god.
Holy that is actually stupid.
Destiny 4?
That is inconceivable.
Destiny 4?
One quick stint in the Mazda Kusabi later for the FF challenge, I took a little detour into the European events to run this little B-license Lupo in the Schwarzwald Liga A. I probably just butchered the hell out of that. I would be up some decently tuned Audis and BMWs, but they didn't have about 1,000 hours in the game like I do. 3 races later, and I had gotten first by progression skips out of the way, with me winning the M3 GTR race car. But I actually didn't plan on using it for long, as my main goal was to use that in the Club M Championship and get the road going M3 GTR. Mostly for the Supercar Festival, as my DNX wasn't a production car, call it a concept, whatever you want. And also I used the M3 for the FR challenge, cause why not, check it off the list. I still needed the IB and the IA licenses, so I went ahead and just went through those. I didn't need any of the prize cars for any of these. I wasn't planning on using any of these, so just go through it fast as I can, doesn't matter, yada yada yada. More Discord bullying, per usual.
I'm gonna get a boost, dude. That too.
Boost mobile?
Like those gummy Krabby Patties, like the little gummy.
No.
You take apart.
Dude, I honestly,
hated those.
I hate them.
I
could tear apart I could tear apart a jar of Flintstone gummies, dude. Just saying.
Real. But we
You
wouldn't be able to
tear apart a
stop you.
phone book.
I have never eaten a phone book in my entire life.
I don't even like bananas.
Oh,
I don't even like newspapers.
After I got the rest of my licenses, I got the M3 GTR up to about 550 for the Supercar Festival, where I quickly learned that, man, I really like this car. I just ended up smashing everything in the Supercar Festival without issues. I never really got to use the M3 GTR much, as it was always locked behind Club M, and I never got to actually use it the way I wanted to because I never had a BMW. All the BMWs were way too expensive. But add another one to the list. I like it. I took some quick detours into some cars I needed for the end game, such as the Capri Rally Normal, not easy, for a Subaru rally car that I needed for the Boxer Spirit event, and the Japanese Championship in the DNX for the Nissan Z LM race car. We'll keep that in the back pocket. So running off the checklist from there, I still needed the K-Car Cup. What do you know? Get a K-Car from the Sunday Cup. Run the Auto Bianchi in there. And alrighty, we're just checking these off the list. The only thing that was really bugging me at this point was the Spider and Roadster events. As I was looking through the prize cars I could win, I saw only real 2 options. Either get the C1 Corvette from the American Championship, or the Lotus Elan from the Lotus Classics one-make race, which required either an Elan or a Lotus Europa, and we could still get that from the British Lightweight Series, using the Jetta G4 we won from the K-Car Cup. And honestly, I like the idea of the Lotus rather than the Vets, as I'd have to win the American Championship in a Pontiac Sunfire. No. So, British Lightweight Cup it was. I had no problems with the Lightweight Cup, as the Jetta really handled pretty well after I bought some brakes for it, of course, because the stock brakes on a 64 car are not good. But the Europa was ours, and that's the only thing that mattered. We then went into the Lotus one-make race, where we really didn't even encounter any issues there either, just some light tunes and honestly some pretty easy competition, and there we go, Lotus Elan, done. So now we were going into the Spider Roadster Cup, and I think this took a little more tuning than usual, but in the end, this Elan was so fun to drive as well, mostly because I excel in these lightweight cars. You could just toss it wherever you want, it'll just point and go. It's super fun. The Elan also had the benefit of being able to be used in the World Classics Cup as well, and when I entered the event, I had somehow dodged the 2 pain-in-the-ass cars for this both times I had run the event. But I'm not going to complain for now, even though I think the Elan had a shot of taking down the Cobra. Not the special though, way too much power in the thing. I also took care of the MR challenge in the Europa, as that was another lightweight tossable car for me to mess around with, and the NSXR I got for the NA challenge would have been too easy in my opinion. The only part I wasn't going to be able to finish completely was the sport truck race, unfortunately, and I had to admit partial defeat and buy a Tacoma. But just like that, we had every single event done for the GT World Championship in record time to boot. So now it was trying to figure out what my challenger would be. I loaded up a different save file that I had made with every car in the game in my garage and all the money I was going to need to try and figure out what the most fun car would be to take on all these LMP cars with. So I took my box standard LMP car to Suzuka to set a benchmark time of 142.6. I wanted to be as close to that number as I could, with about 5 or 10 seconds give or take of difference, as I know I don't have the raw downforce numbers to take 130R as fast as they do. First up on my list was the M3 GTR I'd used. Maybe I was skilled enough to hang with a car that had significantly less mechanical grip, but no, wasn't gonna work. 11 seconds short. And although I think I might have been able to win on some tracks, I was not confident in it. Okay, road car no-go. What about the race car counterpart? Not much better, surprisingly, with a 150.4. Still about 3 seconds faster, but not quite where I wanted to be. The next best option in my garage was the ZLM race car for the Japan Championship. It felt a lot better to drive, even though the downforce numbers were the same between the two cars. It also had a slight power increase over the M3, so I just kind of ran with it. I would have shown you the fastest lap, but I couldn't really focus at all because of where the rest of the call went, and I didn't even post a good lap from it.
I'm not sure where they're going to put me at tomorrow, though.
The freezer?
Hopefully somewhere in the restaurant. Maybe they'll put you in a drive-thru.
I want the grill today.
Well, let's just take you out back.
Real old Yeller.
Bro, if I'm not the freaking fryer tomorrow, I'll be jumping happy with joy.
I do not want you making my chicken nuggets. I'm gonna eat it and just like grow titties or something.
Oh wait,
Something's gonna happen.
Wait.
I'm gonna chew one, and then my third eye will open up, and I'll realize I
Wait a
am that
minute, Will.
stupid.
Will, growing titties, you already have them.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz working at Burger King be like,
I want the Burger King revolver and an apron. And would you like it? I'd rather see Queso there than Will.
the Queso went there, bro. If Queso went there, you'd actually have things to do.
Yeah, like cook all the food in the restaurant. It's gonna be gone.
What do you mean all the food? You mean the food that they barely have just for one day? Because
Yeah, all of it.
Burger King?
Yeah, real.
I'm telling
Unload
you,
the truck.
They bring their stock from home because why keep it at the store? Nobody goes.
He's spitting facts right now. We actually ran out of today.
Who eats at Burger King where you run out of food?
Well, our ship is in tomorrow, so.
Answer me this, Mr. Burger Man. Why don't you sell the chicken fries anymore?
I don't know. I'll probably ask my manager.
What happened to the spicy chicken fries? Those were actually good. And the one other reason I would ever go to McBurger King.
McBurger King.
I should have worked at Wendy's.
I've actually laughed so much I need to. I'll be right back.
What?
I went into the GT World Championship with the Z all tuned up and ready to go, and yeah, I did reroll the opponents a lot because there is no way in hell I'm taking on a Minolta Toyota in a class below it. I finally landed on a roster of some challenging opponents in the F1 LM, the Gilet Vertigo, and what would undoubtedly be the class of the field, the Toyota GT1. Back again for some revenge after being beat by the CLK GTR last time. This time, it knew I was weaker, and it took full advantage of it. The first race in Tokyo I knew was going to be close with a slight edge to the GT1 for its better downforce. I started on the hard compound to try and no-stop the race and bet on the Toyota to have to pit at some point, but as the laps went on, got further and further ahead and I knew it wasn't pitting. And to be honest, I didn't even have a chance on pace to begin with, so I just kind of accepted second and was perfectly fine with it. Even though we're 4 points down out of the gate, I know I can make up a lot of points on these street tracks as the AI really doesn't know what to do on these. Super Speedway was up next, and yeah, this is the epitome of aero sensitive. It ended up being the same as Tokyo, to grossly oversummarize it, with the GT1 on a no-stop, and me in second. Tactics be damned. Now we were 8 points down, and luckily Hong Kong is where it would start to turn around. It's easily one of the AI's worst tracks with the narrow racing surface, but that can be used to my advantage to keep cars from passing me when it's needed. Then it hit me. The GT1 was starting in 3rd and I was in 6th. If we qualified, I would be starting 1st and 2nd with it right behind me. Did I trust myself to pass more than I trusted the AI to pass on some of these street circuits? So I rolled the dice and thought that the F1 and the Gilet in front would hold out long enough for me to get past everyone else in chunks and let me bully my way into the racing line a bit on corner exits. And that ended up working out pretty well, as the GT1 was stuck behind the F1 LM for a while the Gilet was pulling away. After catching up and passing the Gilet, I was in the lead while the GT1 languished back and forth. Slight problem being, when the Toyota eventually passed the F1 and the Gilet pitted, I was reminded as to why I don't do the championship not in a call.
JC server, I'm waiting.
Alright,
Waiting
going
to
in
see
general.
Hold on,
Wait,
hold on.
wait.
I need to fish my
I'm gonna
mouse
see.
out. Where's the mouse?
wait.
Oh, no, pause.
Yep. Trying to find my mouse when it fell off my desk, I leaned on my controller and unpaused going into the tight sections at the end of the track. GT1 passed me, and as I tried, and failed, to recover while still in the lead, I was now on the back foot again. The only way I was getting back up front now was on fresh rubber and to try the undercut, featuring one of the smoothest punt attempts I have ever recorded.
So this is where Raymond works.
Ooh, bitch.
Raymond works at.
That was kind of smooth, actually.
That was awesome.
Don't care.
2 laps later, I had managed to be within striking distance of first, and on the hairpin, I took my shot, running on the inside, and never looked back from there, maintaining a 5-second gap to the end. From one Asian track to another, Seoul Central was up next, and from my last challenge, I knew I could do a no-stop strategy with relative ease, so that's what I planned on from the start, keeping with the hard strategy that I've been using for the last couple rounds now. Even with me starting in last again, I quickly made up the time on first, and with the Toyota yet again not knowing how to pass, I breezed past both of them in one bunch and overtook the Gilet shortly afterwards. The GT1 eventually got past everything else and up into second, but couldn't catch back up to me as we yet again finished 1-2. 2 wins for me and 2 wins for the GT1, we were tied. But now, this is my kryptonite. El Capitan.
Recently they have a Braille Racer twin mill. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
neat.
have
Yeah,
one of
the
those.
Braille twin mill.
They have a
I
couple-
actually have that one.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want one. It looks
I
cool.
saw it and I'm like, this is honestly too goofy for me not to buy it, so I bought it.
That's what I thought too.
They
I was
also
like,
made a fidget
Wait,
spinner.
if they have
car. I
a
also
Braille
wanna
one
buy
for
that
like
one
blind
just
people,
for
does
fun
that
of
mean
it.
like, what if they make one that's like perfectly silent, just for deaf people? It's like it doesn't
It's
matter.
just called normal Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
those things are
all
loud.
Hot Wheels. Loud wheels.
Frog
what'd you
wheels.
do?
I meant to hit qualifying. I just started the race on super softs.
Yeah, those
Well,
tires aren't
that's-
gonna last.
that's of it, Val.
These are gonna last 2 laps maximum.
Maybe 2.5 if you are conservative.
What if he's liberal?
Back ones.
What if he's liberal though? Is that like cause problems?
I'm not sure.
I already knew I messed up, but I already had a plan out the gate. I was just going to try and salvage it by setting 2 super fast laps out the gate and switching to hards on lap 2. Okay, we can salvage this, not too far behind, we'll be fine, and I switched to B-Spec. Nope, we're done. It's literally Jover at this point. The B-Spec driving was throwing so hard in this thing that it wasn't even feasible. I had to come in and pit a 3rd time to get him out of the car. I did end up going on an absolute tear the final 4 laps and clawed my way back up into almost 3rd, being within 5 seconds, but man, that's just not good enough right now. I thought the entire championship was over and I was contemplating restarting. But I still had time. Even though my gap to first of the points was now 7, I could make up the deficit in New York, and hope that the brakes on my car wouldn't be a repeat of the M3 scenario from earlier.
Oh yeah, this BMW doesn't have any brakes.
I'm sorry, I just vividly vividly imagine that in like the middle of a racetrack, someone just completely forgets, and that's just his response, and then
Oh,
into the
God,
tire
the
wall.
BMW has no brakes, right?
I went back to the strat of not qualifying to slow the GT1 down again, but even that wasn't enough as I was just completely pissed at this thing. But by lap 4, I was back on top of the pylon. Tire wear was still going to be an issue, and the GT1 ended up passing me because of it. We did end up pitting on the same lap. I could take advantage of the fact that the Toyota would be taking on fuel, slowing it down by a slight margin. And it would be enough to pass it on the outlap and not have to look back from there. Only 3 points down now, and another street track up next in Paris. Nothing really of interest in this race, but my beloved cat, who I love, decided to step on the power button out of lap 17 of 18. I'm just at least glad that I had a manual save this time, right before this race, so I only had to redo Paris again. Still ended up in a win for me, and a second for the GT1. Now on to Suzuka with a 1 point lead. I was feeling pretty confident, but the GT1 reminded me who the faster car was here. I got past everyone at first, but the Toyota ended up blazing through the field just to punch me straight at the throat. And it pushed me into some pretty good mistakes at 130R and the following chicane. Now on the back foot again. Great. And with my minor hiccups, we shall say, it had pulled it into a sizable lead, and I kind of had to concede as my tire wear was starting to kick in again. I ended up pitting on lap 7 as my front tires were just completely melted. So with only 2 laps to go, I was going to throw on the super softs and see what I could do. But it still ended up not being enough as I was down about 10 seconds from first. 8 races out of 10 done, and I was still 3 points back. I had to win these next 2 outright to win the championship, and Grand Valley was going to be another aero-sensitive track that would be in the Toyota's favor. It would end up being a pretty good cat and mouse game throughout, where we were both right within each other's grasp but couldn't get the upper hand on each other. I tried to pull the undercut again and put the mediums on for safety this time, as the super softs on the last 2 laps of Suzuka kind of fell not in my favor. I still had a bit of time to make up, but the GT1 would pit within 2 laps with me coming out right behind. But with the Toyota on colder tires, I went straight past and drove off into the sunset. 1 down, 1 to go. Second was not going to do me any favors anymore. I had to win. Lasarth has had some epic moments in its past, and I was going to have to add to those records if I had any chance of beating this GT1.
breaking free of our prisons. We defy the control of the system. The thunder's growing louder in our hearts. The storm is rising, this is where it starts. Let's break the rules and really put our backs into it. Max out, pursue it. What's a better time than now to cross the line? Don't break, let loose, and make sure that your heart is in it. Start line to finish. For every second rushing by, we're losing time. We're losing time. You and I. There's a flame in your eye that's igniting mine. I know I've seen it before. In the gaze of a clouded lion, I'm not afraid anymore. Let's break the rules and really put our backs into it. Max out, pursue it. What's a better time than now to cross the line? Don't break, let loose, and make sure that your heart is in it. Front line to finish. For every second rushing by, we're losing time. Let's break the rules and really put our backs into it. What's a better time than now to cross the line? Don't break, let loose, and make sure that your heart is in it. For every second rushing by, we're losing time. We're losing
And so, with that epic battle out of the way, we had done it by the skin of our teeth and had won the GT World Championship yet again. This last part's just me going completely off script, so if you enjoyed the video, you're free to click off. But for those of you who stay, man, you guys cannot believe how floored I was when I saw the video and how well it did. I had no idea that I could do such a thing. It's honestly crazy to even still look at the numbers and everything and see the comments I've gotten. I've genuinely tried to take a lot of that feedback into account for this video. And even though I'm a perfectionist at heart, I'm never going to be at the level of the videos I see from the likes of Mr. X-Boss, Dustin Eden, Dove7, all of them. I'm honestly still just honored to have videos watched by some of you guys. All of you guys even. It genuinely means the world to me. So I thank you for that. I wouldn't have done another one if it wasn't for the fact that the first video did so well. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, what sort of improvements I can still make, because I know there's still a ton to improve on. But I want you guys to be the one that drives the content. I want to make stuff that you guys will like. So please just let me know in the comments. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day, night, wherever you are.